everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Mac and cheese. So not for the entire 20 minutes.
Gotta go with real cheddar. Anyway.
Yeah.
Hi. Welcome to Monday. Sunrise Extra. We were getting. Oh man, I got back into Facebook. And I
Oh boy.
you
got two phones working there. I see.
Two phones. We were talking about space, the race to space with these billionaires going. So over the weekend, I woke up. My husband let me sleep in on whatever day it was.
Husbands
yesterday.
are so great.
And he got the kid up and breakfast, and I came downstairs. She was watching cartoons, and he was watching something on his phone. I said, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm watching Richard Branson going to space." And so there is the Virgin Galactic.
It's a good-looking plane or ship or whatever it's called. What's it called?
It's a rocket ship.
Kind of, yeah, like a newfangled, instead of the traditional shaped rocket to get the spaceship up there. So technically he went 53 miles, and that technically is the barrier to space. They did a 3-minute weightless kind of free fall, and then they came back into the atmosphere and they landed safely, and there he is, the first privately held.
So he's the one that your book says the first private citizen, if you will, to go into space.
Yeah.
But then Jeff Bezos says, you might be getting there before me, but when I get there in a couple of days, I'm going to go a little higher.
Just like
he's going like a few feet higher.
Yeah. So Jeff Bezos goes on Tuesday on his rocket called the Blue Origin. He's going a little bit higher. He's going with his brother and some other people who paid like
that's his goal anyway. We'll see if he makes it.
Elon Musk so far says he doesn't have, any plans he's announced of himself getting on board SpaceX.
I have a couple of questions for you.
Go ahead.
Oh, please.
Good morning, by the way.
Yeah.
I was laughing when you talked about your husband letting you sleep in. My wife did not care what time I woke up on Saturday or Sunday this weekend because she took herself to Nashville, Tennessee.
Girls trip.
Yeah, girls trip.
Girls trip to Nashville.
Yes. One of her longtime friends turned 40 this week or weekend or month. I don't think they really cared when it was. They just knew they were going to Nashville to celebrate it.
Right? Yeah. Did they go to a country music show?
Yeah, I don't know. I think she went there before and went to the Old Opry.
The Grand Old Opry.
The Grand Old Opry last time she went, so I don't think she went there this time. I'm getting off topic. I apologize.
Yes.
Here's the deal. 2 questions for you regarding space. Number 1. Are you surprised that we're taking these personal trips into space now? Or did you think that in your lifetime that we'd be doing more in space than we currently are? I think that a lot of people who were around for the walking on the moon, the initial walking on the moon back in the 60s, I think people who lived then and saw that probably thought by the year 2021 we'd be doing way more in space than we are.
Like living there. Yeah.
I would say, if I had to answer the following question, Rod, are you, because I remember watching the Apollo missions, are you surprised that we don't have a structure of some sort on the moon? Yes or no? I would have to say, if that was my choice, I'm a bit surprised we don't have a permanent structure on the moon.
The second question, perhaps even more fun. If you had the chance, if you were afforded the opportunity, or if you were rich enough, like a Jeff Bezos perhaps, to go into space, would you even want to? Is that something I know a lot of our viewers probably say, yep, sign me up, I want to go and check it out. But personally,
to be one of these early ones?
Personally, I have no desire. No desire to
Not
go.
yet, no.
I do think
there needs to be a bathroom and some food.
I think to be able to get high enough where you can look back and see the circumference of the planet, you see in the movies, I think that would be an amazing thing. And if I felt comfortable it was going to be a safe trip up just to that altitude, to see that, then I would say yes. Now, I have no desire to go to Mars.
No.
Mars, FYI, looks like northern Nevada. You ever looked at northern Nevada? It's not pretty. So
Not a lot there. Yeah.
Not a lot there.
Rocks.
I mean, it makes a Walmart parking lot look exciting. Anyway, but I think it'd be cool to see, just look back and see the view of the planet.
Yeah,
sure.
but not at this stage. Like, it needs to be, a more regular thing where people are coming back. Everything's good. There's circular trips,
I want to see a million trips. I'd like to see a million successful trips.
Tell me them 1 million and one.
Yeah.
I'm going to hop on right now.
Renee
I'm
Robertson says, I'll
take
take a hard pass on a space trip. I am with you, Renee. Also, there needs to be amenities for me to go up there. More so. You were saying if you were going to Mars, there needs to be like a McDonald's. McDonald's or something.
Well, there's just not much there. Yeah. Terry Hokamp says a lot of people probably share the same sentiment about the money being spent. Too many problems to solve on Earth. Want to be a hero? Solve world hunger. A lot of people probably would, probably like that comment.
For these billionaires doing it, it is pretty amazing. I mean, yes, they spent a ton of money and many, many years, and many fascinating, brilliant scientists have been employed by them to do this. I mean, SpaceX and now Virgin and Blue Origin. I mean, it is pretty incredible, the things that, these guys are doing, that we are thinking about sending great people up there.
I mean, it is a necessary...
That NASA isn't doing, or can't afford.
I mean, it is a step more towards space, right? Our director, Brian Matthews, says he read or heard that the entire trip from takeoff to touchdown was an hour, Brian, is that right? 1 hour. Which is, it takes you an hour and 50 minutes, wheels up to wheels down, to fly to Reno from Portland, for crying out loud.
Is that because of some kind of time change, Brian?
They're going really freaking fast. It's a rocket.
NBC reports that. An hour. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so the other question, how much did this cost, do you know?
I don't know.
Would you spend $1 billion in an hour if you could? No!
Not yet. Yeah. It'll get less expensive, let's say.
All right.
I'm curious, we've got all these planets. 9 if you still count Pluto as a planet.
I still count Pluto.
They don't.
I do.
They're back to counting?
Yeah.
Oh, he's back on.
Yeah, Pluto was a
On
planet
the
when we
list.
were in school. Then it went away as being a planet, but I heard it's a planet again.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Pluto.
Why is that, Rod?
Just because I feel bad. They tried to how would you like it if someone downgraded you, right? I like to stick up for Pluto.
Anyway, go on.
What is these other 8 spheres? You know what I mean? I would think that by now we would have figured out a purpose for Mercury and how it can help us. Maybe it's just keeping all the balance in space. You know what I mean?
There. It's not about helping us.
All these huge balls in space besides Earth are just there to be there. I can't believe that we haven't found a reason.
You could say that about the NFC East, the football conference that your team plays in.
I mean, every creature on Earth has a purpose, right? You go, what's the point of an ant, right? But ants serve a purpose. Every creature on the planet Earth serves a purpose.
It's very deep.
We need them all.
It's very deep.
Well, it probably does, but we don't know.
I can't believe we haven't figured that out.
Insignificant.
We haven't figured out why Venus is there and why it's so close to us, as close as it is. There has to be a reason.
Very deep.
Well, they're wondering, why are we here?
I have no comment.
Who's they? There's no one on Venus.
Beyond. Beyond.
You're assuming now, Drew. You're assuming.
Back to the viewers. Sheila Speck says, I would not go into space, but she says she knows a lot of people that she'd like to send into space.
I like that.
A lot of people can identify with that.
Veronica Gaston said, I hear that weightlessness, you don't feel pain. I have several aches and pains for sure.
I bet that's is that it's probably real? Is that true? Is that
you're not putting pressure on
I'm sure she's probably right. Yeah.
Terry makes a great point. Terry Hokamp. And Terry, I believe you've made many great points in the past, so I'm not surprised to see your great point this morning.
Is this the one that I read already, or is this a different one? Go ahead.
About the problems on Earth?
Yeah.
Did you read that already?
I read that earlier. But I think a lot of people agree. Read it again, because a lot of people probably agree with this, Drew.
I don't like it when we do this.
No, read it again.
She says, too many problems to solve on Earth. Want to be a hero, solve world hunger. That is true. $1 billion spent for that hour-long trip. I do believe that $1 billion could be spent in other ways here on Earth. Would help more people.
That's the thing, but it is.
But hey, it's not my money, right? They can spend it however.
It is a step, though, in science. It really is. I mean, inevitably, to get to space travel. I mean, here's a hard reality for you, ladies and gentlemen. I forget what it is. Is it 93 million? Something like that. I mean, physicists have a date when our sun will burn out, and at that point, we would likely have to evacuate this planet and go live somewhere else. At some point, if mankind is going to survive forever and ever, we will have to figure out space travel, because this planet will have to be evacuated at some point.
And that's when Mars comes into play. We're just going to keep bouncing onto the other balls every 93 million years or so.
Farming Mars. I mean, I think, and I think it's cool, for all the stuff that, people say about Elon Musk and, whatever he does with Bitcoin, and he's a definitely weird dude, but that guy is making some pretty incredible things.
He prefers intelligent, but
intelligent.
Yes.
He really, and he's his priorities, I think, are fascinating, and it's not just, making, battery powered cars and, maybe solar powered cars in the future. And I mean, creating, creating SpaceX and just all of that stuff is so amazing and has so much implication, for future generations. Yeah.
That's a good thought. It kind of reminds me of the thought.
But it's not Amazon.com,
Right.
he's selling cars, yes, but.
Willie Huey has a thought.
Willie Huey.
Nearly as deep as yours.
Yeah.
If you were in
well, go ahead.
If you were in space, Willie asks, could you milk a cow? Do you need gravity for that milk to come out, or can you just squeeze it and the milk will come out regardless of whether you're with or without gravity?
I wonder how
It's a great question.
Talking about milking the cow in space? Is that where? Okay, all right.
What planet besides ours, Willie, has the cows to milk? You all right over there, Rod? So far, I've only seen one person on the stream say that they would, two people on the stream saying they would actually like to go to space if they were afforded the opportunity.
Yeah.
The first one of those was, where did he go? Where did you go? Don't leave me now. Well, one was Brian Matthews, our director. That's the one I saw first. Brian Matthews says, sign me up. I would go in a heartbeat. I thought there was another one joining you, Brian Matthews, but maybe you are the only one so far. Most people think one of two things. A, it's too dangerous, or B, what's the point?
Yeah, we'll just.
I would go. No, Director Brian Matthews wants to go.
At this point.
At this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would go right now. I think that.
And then if it crashes. And
well, I mean, you're never really sure you're going to get back home ever. You're not. You're not sure you're not going to get killed in a car wreck when you go home from work today.
True.
I mean, you're not.
Yeah.
So I would place some faith in these billionaires that they have crossed their T's and dotted their I's for their own well-being, that these vessels to at least just go to space and come back, an hour flight, Brian said it was, that the risks are relatively low, that they have full confidence in the machinery. And I would too at that point to do that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going if they don't have beverages and a meal service.
Right.
But yeah.
Right.
You want to be completely honest with the viewers right now? Would you like to be completely honest with these viewers that are watching right now?
What did
Honestly,
I say?
if it was just the three of us, the cameras weren't on in the studio, if it was just the three of us, would we continue talking about this if we were on our own? Or would we move on to something else?
We're going to move on to something else, probably.
Honestly, would we continue to talk about this? I'm sitting here wondering, I'm done with this. I have no desire to talk about this anymore. And I think what set me off was I realized on Friday I missed what appeared to be a great show.
What did we talk about on Friday?
Oh,
that was pizza.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the gal from Panama said she had pizza
Portland
because
was voted
of,
the best pizza
I
city
did
in
read
the
that.
US.
Yeah.
I did read that. I was surprised to see
Launched
that.
a lot of controversy, not just arguing no it isn't or yes it is, but whether this is actually a bad thing for Portland.
Why
And
would it be
then
a bad
the
thing?
author of this book that apparently he is an Epstein friend, and on and on and on and
Oh,
on.
boy.
Oh.
And so yes, but we also asked, what's your favorite pizza?
Yeah.
Just to
people were
circle
saying.
back, Renee
Okay.
Robertson said, side note, we had pizza this weekend after Friday's pizza discussion. Chicken caprese pizza, caprese, how do you say that word?
Caprese?
Caprese, right?
Yeah.
I say it that way too. Some say capri.
I say that way. Which I'm sure is wrong.
Chicken caprese pizza with a pesto drizzle. She says it was
Yeah.
delicious.
Yum.
Jennifer Taft says pizza in space.
Yeah, you can do that. You can have pizza
How do you
anywhere.
keep the pepperoni? You have to have extra cheese to keep the pepperoni
glue, yeah.
attached to the pizza slice in space, right? Or the pepperoni would
That
float
stuff
off.
would really, like, if you were to go to space, like, you look out and you're like, wow, pondering the universe. And then I'd be fascinated with, like, how you do stuff weightless in the spaceship.
I mean, Carlos says, I think it's amazing. Going to space via the private sector is truly a step in a direction that will open many doors. And I would like to think that's correct in terms of additional scientific, acknowledged and experimentation in the future. I would like to think that's correct.
There was a fascinating, I know Brenda and I talk about it a lot, this New York Times podcast called The Daily. And like 2 weeks ago, they had on Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's, one of the most famous astrophysicists living right now. And he's just a wonderful speaker. He has a lot of books, and he just like dumbs it down to regular language. And so they had him on the podcast, and they asked him, what about alien life? If we haven't found it by now, like, does it mean it really is there? Right. And he had just some great answers about, no, that doesn't mean anything.
Well, we haven't looked at
it. It is so vast.
Right.
And we could have, like light years ancient, what we think is is great technology is like little
Nothing in
tinker
comparison.
toys compared to
So that's a
other
good
stuff.
question.
Where
That's
other
good.
life would be like, oh, these guys are like anemones, you know, like they're just like brainless. We don't even want to bother with earthlings or whatever.
They seen Rocky?
You are
I mean, honestly,
he went to Philadelphia last week. He's all about it.
Rocky, I'll remind those.
So we don't really even have a grasp on how large space is.
Yeah.
And to me, and again, I think of things statistically. It's hard for me to believe in the vastness of space that we're the only planet that is situated in a position towards the nearest star, such as we are, that supports life. It's just hard for me to believe that we are truly the only planet in that position with proximity to a star that's just right. So I, without any hesitation, believe that there are, I'm going to say multiple other planets somewhere that have life forms. I'm going to say multiple.
Just because it's hard to believe doesn't make it true or not true. It's hard to believe that Nigeria would beat the United States in a basketball game, but that happened. It's hard to believe, but it happens.
I understand they have talent on that team.
Well, they must have something because they beat the very talented, supposedly, United States team. But my point is, just because it seems hard to believe, it would have been 2 months ago, just 2 months ago, Rod, in the month of April 2021. That's 3 months ago. Beside the point, you would have said it's impossible to imagine a 116-degree day in Portland. But
okay, what is this, you guys? The arrow
That's
is
true.
what?
So
Is
some things
Earth?
that are impossible to believe are
That's the Milky Way.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So see this, it says you are here.
You're there.
That is our teeny little galaxy.
That's the new. That's where the KGW new transmitter is.
Oh,
is
yes.
right there. Yeah.
More powerful.
You are here.
Televisions.
But so just because it seems unbelievable or impossible that there would
right.
that doesn't
Is
mean
it
there
possible
isn't.
we're the only one? I just
Yeah.
from a statistics standpoint, I just find it hard to believe that in the vastness, so vast that we don't even know how vast it is, not to be redundant in speech, we would be the only
can
one
only see
that has
so
that
far.
proximity to a star that supports life. I just find it hard to believe.
I mean, we're still looking for Krypton, right? The planet Krypton.
No.
We know it's out there, but we haven't actually gotten there yet.
It's very true.
Remember when Superman actually flew up into space and he like tossed those bad guys into like some kind of space jail?
Oh yeah.
And they got stuck in that like that phantom zone, that glass square. We're just stuck there forever.
Jennifer Taft says, can the aliens eat Jeff Bezos? I was seeing a bunch of memes on Twitter this weekend about, all these billionaires going up into space. All of these, there's two.
Yeah.
They just pay their taxes back on Earth.
Clean release.
The big report that they're not paying any federal taxes.
Carlos says, who I like Carlos's comment earlier, he said, there may indeed be other life forms out in space. I like the way Rod thinks.
Stanford, this show is off the wall this morning. Where's Brenda? She's on vacation, Stanford.
This is what happens when
Brenda would not even have signed off on this topic of conversation.
I know.
She would have said, next.
I would think it's just cool. I mean, just the weightlessness feeling, like just, how they barely went up above the atmosphere into space where you are like that feeling would be pretty incredible.
You can get that at iFly. In Tigers.
I mean, kind of. But you're just like, being blown, like moving around and trying to drink a drink or like, type something where you have to be strapped. Like that would be a cool feeling. Or trying to go to the bathroom or cook some food. Like how do you?
I think there are science museums
Like, that
in
would
the
be
country that have
interesting.
those non-gravity chambers you can get into. I think there are some of those in our country.
Really?
I think so. I think so.
Tom Cruise had to actually free fall in a plane to shoot that one movie.
Oh, Tom's done it all, man.
Tom.
Dizzy D says, with these billionaires going into space, we asked the question at the beginning of the show, if you had the chance, if you had the resources, would you like to fly in space? Would you like to take a trip into space? Dizzy D said yes, but I'd rather spend the money getting the new cancer medicine for my cousin's daughter.
Yeah.
I agree.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd come up with a list of many, many things that I would do with that money before flying into space.
Yeah.
I'll read Kimberly Hofford, I think is how she says her. I say her last name anyway. She says, only godless believe in that crud, talking about the notion that there could be other life forms, other planets that are positioned to a star. Yeah.
Wait, only people who don't believe in God think there could be.
No, I take what Kimberly's saying that God created our planet, and it's the only way that life could exist. It's God's doing. So therefore, there'll be no other planet supporting life in the vast
God made all the
universe.
planets. I grew up with 13 years of Cap school.
I think that's what Kimberly's
thinking
saying.
that God made all the planets, not just Earth. Why did he make all those other planets without life on it?
He's trying to get it just right.
Julie Watt says, I can't see myself going. Risk versus reward just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, what would I do out there? Float around a little bit? I can think of a whole lot better ways to spend my money.
We're talking an hour flight.
I mean, like it would be such the most humbling thing in the world, and talk about emotional, of looking down on our planet and seeing the clouds and the earth and the sea, and like, you're this little nothing, looking back on all of humanity, all on one thing. Like it would make you cry.
I don't know if it would.
You.
I don't know if it would.
You cry at Rocky. You would definitely cry if you saw the earth.
I don't think I would cry.
No, I don't think I would either.
I wouldn't cry. But I do cry at when Mickey passes away.
I'd cry looking back at her. I'd cry if just thinking about maybe I can't get back there. Like, oh my gosh, look how far away we are. What if this thing happens?
Be a very emotional, moving experience. Probably the most.
It takes an hour.
You could ever
I can't believe it.
You'll go in the morning, you'll be home, you have some cocktails in the afternoon. Have a nice night's sleep.
Oh, you
kept this conversation going.
You poops.
Yes, you did. You kept this conversation going 8 minutes beyond.
I got tater tots and fried chicken to eat for breakfast. We will see you tomorrow, you guys. Thanks for weighing in. Bye.
See, Howard Wright says you can do what you want to do with Google Earth.
Oh, gosh, you guys.
Take the flight?